Hi, this is Les-Levine, the self-proclaimed voice of truth and reason in Ohio sports. Every year or so, I would get a phone call from my old Greenview Junior High School baseball coach, Jim Humple, maybe to ask me to speak to some of his students in his baseball academy, or just to see how I was doing, or if I'd heard or seen from any of my former teammates. The last couple of years, he would see if I would meet him at Progressive Field to talk to my teammate, the 1980 Cy Young Award winner, Steve Stone, who is the great television analyst for the Chicago White Sox. So a couple of weeks ago, he said he talked to Stone and set up a meeting for this Thursday before the afternoon game with the White Sox. But as fate would have it, I'll be going to his wake that day instead of to the game. Hump died over the weekend at the age of 84. He didn't take over the Brush varsity until the year after I graduated, but he did coach me in a couple of summer leagues, in addition to junior high. In 28 years at Brush, he amassed over 500 wins, 16 sectional titles, 5 districts, 3 regionals, and 2 trips to the state Final Four. He made friends and he made enemies, but he demanded that you play the game the way it was supposed to be played. And despite his insistence over the years that I call him Hump like everybody else did, it wasn't until about 2 years ago that I called him anything other than Mr. Humple. Rest in peace, Hump. Bud Shaw is here. More Sports and Les-Levine is on the air. From the worldwide headquarters of More Sports and Les-Levine, it is a Tuesday night. Good evening, everyone. Welcome once again to More Sports and Les-Levine, into our 25th year now, and 24th year now. I get mixed up into the year, total years and all that stuff. We're into the 24th year and exclusively on cleveland.com. Bud Shaw is with us. Hello, Bud.
Well, that's because it seems like 25.
Or so. Explain a couple. Can you... You're here for one reason.
Anything.
You're here to explain things to me.
All right, I'll try.
Explain something to me about our beautiful game of baseball.
Yes.
Right? On Labor Day, one of the 3 significant holidays that we celebrate during baseball season, 6 teams, 3 games were not played, not scheduled. How is it possible that, for example, the Oakland A's had the day off? Among other teams.
Yeah, I mean, it's that traditional Monday. Some teams get Monday or Thursday in a certain week off. So I guess they just didn't feel the need to have everybody play that day. Plus, they knew that the Indians would be playing a 4-hour and 10-minute game. So they would make up for the fact that other teams weren't playing.
Thank goodness the automatic walk, intentional walk, wasn't used. And they, 4 hours and what?
The only good thing about that is that you have to win those kind of games because they're so ugly to begin with, and it takes a certain amount of mistakes to prolong a game for that long.
And does it carry over the next day?
Not usually. I'm not a believer in momentum at all. Are you?
No.
I mean, Clevinger's on the mound today. I have a feeling this game's going to go a lot faster, and maybe not.
And I would say
not the way the White Sox want it to go.
Yeah, I'm not a momentum guy unless you have really good pitching.
Yeah, unless you have a Verlander going one day and a number 2 starter who's almost as good going the next day.
A member of the Indians front office
who will go unnamed.
Will go unnamed, as for now, told me about 8 or 10 years ago that they don't like hosting holiday games. Now, I think that's an automatic extra 10,000 people there, but
it didn't translate to that for Labor Day, did it?
No.
I think they only had 16 or something like that at the game on Labor Day, if I'm not
Labor
mistaken.
Day yesterday, yeah. They announced it as 15 or 16,000.
Yeah.
So they don't. It is not an automatic sellout. What is an automatic sellout is dollar dogs and dollar fireworks.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I have mixed opinion about that. It's like on July 4th. Do you want to be with your family and friends at a picnic, or do you want to be sitting at a baseball game?
Good question.
I've never gone to games on holidays. That's just a personal preference.
Well, I think if you're looking to have, it seems a natural. If I know they try to tie in fireworks, right, on July 4th, and so you get two birds with one stone, I would guess. But I don't know. It seems crazy that teams get off days on it.
Yeah.
But not nearly as crazy as playing a National League team in the last series of the season.
Yeah, let's. If we got really into a deep dive into that scheduling, we'd probably find 5 things that are crazier than not playing on Labor Day.
This portion, including the Voice of Truth and Reason of More Sports and Les-Levine, brought to you by the Ohio Lottery. And there are over 130,000 winners on the Ohio Lottery pick games every month. And with that amount of winning, try pick 3, pick 4, pick 5. Chances to win up to $500, $5,000, and $50,000 twice each day from the Ohio Lottery. 216-575-0403 is the number to call. But I believe, since it's the opening of the show, you must have an opening commentary.
I do, Les, and it's not going to be about the Indians because you know what this is. It's game week, Les.
This is game week. Get your game face on.
Well, it's finally here. We've been waiting for this Brown season almost as long as we waited for the Indians-White Sox Labor Day game to end. Not really, but it did seem that way. There's no denying the talent the Browns bring to this season. If they're not a top 10 offense, top 5 even, I'll be really surprised. And defensively, they have built what could be a dominant front four. Passing and getting to the passer are now how teams win these days in the NFL. So with the Titans coming to town Sunday, it's prediction time. Les, the Browns have only won one season opener since 1999. Not that you need to be reminded, but I believe that this will be number 2. And I'm going to pick them to go 10-6 this season and make the playoffs. Yes, playoffs. I might even pick them to win more, but I'm not quite sure about the offensive line, how it's going to hold up. Also, the first half of the schedule is a test for a team that didn't play much together in the exhibition games. This should be the beginning of a perennial playoff run for a fan base that deserves it more than any other in the league. Enjoy it.
All right, so I heard some guys on radio talking today, predicting and all that stuff. And one said 10-6 with the playoffs. The other said 10-6 without the playoffs. And I'm thinking the 10-6 with or without the playoffs has nothing to do with the team. 10-6 has something to do with the team. Making the playoffs of 10-6 has nothing to do with it. You either make it or you make it or don't make it.
If you feel strongly that they're the best team in the division, you would pick them to win the division, right? And that's a sure way to get into the playoffs. I don't know about that yet. I just think that the talent is certainly there. Roethlisberger is still an experienced guy. That's still a really good organization. And Baltimore was a team that sort of remade itself on the run last year when Lamar Jackson became the quarterback. So I think there are 2 really, really good organizations with 2 good head coaches, and I wouldn't rule either of them out because of that.
All right, you talk about coaches. What do you expect from a coach once the season starts? They can go on vacation whenever. Season starts, are they 24/7 people? Do they need to be 24/7 people?
Well, that's been my experience. I mean, I know that, when I first broke into sports writing, one of the guys that I covered was Dick Vermeil, and he's had a cot in his office, and that's how he approached it. He slept in his office. He also burned out. Bud Grant famously was a guy who would make sure his coaches went home after dinner. He had a longer lifespan. But I think once you get into the season, it becomes almost a full-time 16-hour-a-week job at least.
What would you think about your head coach on Friday of game night, right? When was last
Thursday.
Thursday was the
Thursday when they played
game.
the last exhibition
What would you
game.
think on the Thursday of the final exhibition season if I told you that at 3 o'clock in the afternoon the head coach of the Cleveland Browns was seen on the east side of town getting his nails, well, not getting his nails done, but his wife getting her nails done, and he was there to pick her up? I'd be happy.
Surprised.
You'd be surprised?
Yeah, not that in a bad way. I was but most guys, they have such tunnel vision that they're sitting in their office, they're working on depth charts, they're scheming who they want to see play that night.
All right, well, here's what Freddie-Kitchens was doing last Thursday night.
Are you sure it was Freddie-Kitchens and not
Well,
a
I know the woman on the left is my wife, and I'm pretty sure that the one on the right, the man on the right, look at the size of Freddie-Kitchens' hands.
Can we zero in on those nails?
I believe he was picking up his wife getting her nails. But I found it refreshing that on a Thursday of game night, he's on the east side of town and not worried about traffic for the Browns game.
Yeah, I'd be even more impressed with his cool if he was actually getting a manicure and pedicure before the game.
How about the fact that, you know, if you don't wear orange and brown, he's not interested. He's wearing an Indian's hat.
I know. I noticed that. I thought it was the brownie elf initially.
Or look at the lack of size of my wife's shoulders. One of the two.
Maybe your wife has especially small shoulders.
Maybe so. Well,
no, it's kind of. I mean, I know it's only exhibition season. I don't think we'll see him. I don't think you'll see him over there Sunday.
You won't see him on the east side?
At 10 a.m. Before the 1 o'clock game. I don't think.
So you know my wife.
I do.
So I'm going to give you a quote that I'm either making up or is true, and you tell me, knowing her, it's true or it's false.
Okay.
Okay. So she says to him, you met my husband the other day. He interviewed you on 92.3 The Fan. And he says, you're a really nice guy. And I said, yeah, but can he coach? Now, do you think that's something Allison Levine said?
Absolutely.
Or didn't say?
Yeah, I have no trouble believing that she said that. And that he probably didn't mind her saying that.
Absolutely not. So, still regaling in laughter as we speak. 216-575-0403 is the number to call. You can follow us on Facebook, facebook.com/more-sports-and-les-levine, with new content posted each and every day. The Browns finalize their 53-man roster. Just in general, without getting specific, you surprised at a couple of the moves or not so surprised?
Well, I mean, they're going into a season with 2 rookie kickers, a punter and a place kicker. And while they shouldn't be connected in that regard, you know, they should win jobs on their own merit. I was surprised that they didn't side with Britton-Colquitt, who had a Pro Bowl alternate year, who is a lot more experienced in burying kicks inside the 20.
Okay, in addition.
Those kinds of things. And holding.
How about, I was going to say, a rookie place kicker, he's the holder.
Yeah. So they must feel really strongly about it. I know there's a big difference money-wise, right? Colquitt was going to make a couple million, but this team's also not in a position. I think it was almost like the Freddie-Kitchens thing. They were afraid not to hire him as coach because they knew they would lose him if they didn't. And I think with this guy, they felt like if they picked Colquitt, somebody would pick up Jamie-Gillan in 5 minutes. And he's young enough that he might be on that team for the next 5 years.
The stat that's going to stick with me all year is it came out last week. 53 of the games last year in the NFL were decided by 3 points or less.
Yeah.
Let's take a break. We'll come on back in a moment. Bud Shaw with us. More Sports and Les-Levine continues exclusively on cleveland.com.
Presque Isle Downton Casino now has sports betting. Use one of the 50 state-of-the-art Bet America kiosks to place your bet. Then watch your favorite games on our new HD televisions or visit our new sportsbook area. Only at Presque Isle Downton Casino.
The Ohio Lottery Partners in Education program has been recognizing role model students and teachers since 2007. To nominate a deserving teacher or student, go to OhioLottery.com. In the About section, find Supporting Education. There, you can nominate students in kindergarten through 12th grade as academic all-stars. Teachers can be honored as the Teacher of the Month. Every school that participates is eligible for the School of the Year. The Ohio Lottery Partners in Education, where stars shine.
Could you talk about your decision to go with Jamie-Gillan especially?
We thought he performed well. He kicked the ball well. We got total confidence that he's going to do the job.
Is there just too much potential within Freddie? I mean, I know we talked about he seems like he's a little raw still, but it just has so much?
Yeah, I mean, the upside is tremendous on him. I think you saw that during the course of the thing. Now we're just working on consistency on an everyday thing. But we think he can get there. That's why he's here.
How much of Jamie-Gillan's holding was part of your guys' discussion when you were deciding? Because he had never done it. We talked to you about it before. But, you know, Seibert said he got a lot better. What went into that for you guys?
Well, I think just the sense that we feel like he can continue to get better at it. He got better. When he started in the spring, he had never held before in his life. So, of course, there's a fast learning curve. And then as you go on, there has to be a continual upswing of getting better at that area of it, because that's definitely part of it.
How much did his athleticism play into it? He's a little more athletic than most punters.
Yeah, I mean, his tackling may have factored in a little bit, but not really. Just hopefully he doesn't have to make too many tackles.
Speed?
You know, anytime you have an athletic guy back there that can overcome some adversity within the play, it's a bonus. So, you know, but all those guys are pretty athletic, I think. So maybe except our kicker. I don't know how athletic he is. But
Speaking of your kicker, what do you think clicked for Austin there the second half? I mean, we kept pestering you with questions about him, you know, all along, and then it just seemed like the light bulb went off.
You know, here's the thing about kickers. I put them in the same category with every other player. They have to have a short memory, all right? And once he decided it's just about the next kick, it wasn't about the past one. None of those affected the next one. And I think maybe at some point there he was letting that happen. You know, so you've got to put it in the rearview mirror and just move on. And it's just like a quarterback. I want a quarterback that messes something up and he's going to move on to the next play and make that same decision and just do it a little better. As long as it wasn't a bad decision, that's the way you should approach things.
You seemed pretty intrigued by Braxton-Miller in the short time that he was here. Was that some of a difficult decision, and what was the feeling?
Well, I think when you start, you know, Braxton's not here anymore, so I don't want to spend a lot of time on it, but Braxton's got a future in the game. I mean, he's a good player. It's just you have to make tough decisions, and it may not be the best spot for us right now, and that's what basically we decided. But even though the initial 53 guys, you're still looking at everybody around the league. I've said that before. You're looking at everybody's practice squads, everybody's guys that they've waived. And, you know, we were fortunate enough to get two pretty good players, we think, off waivers.
All right, do you believe him when he was talking about, first of all, I believe everything he says until something comes up that I shouldn't believe in him. Do you believe
when he said, we're not in the business of giving up good players, and they traded Duke Johnson about 3 weeks later?
That, and did he seem as confident as he should have in his kicker, Seibert?
No, listen, he's going to have to say that he feels good about him, right? But I think the guy made the team in part because he was drafted.
Yeah, I think that's exactly why.
I mean, he did come back in camp and had a better second half of camp than he did first half.
And Joseph had a chance to kick
well enough.
We'll know
whether this is a new era of Browns football in the first week, because in the old era, the guy who's never held before in the National Football League muffs a hold. The guy who's a rookie kicker hits the crossbar. You know, that's what would happen to this team in other years. You know it would.
What will the fans say when it's a field goal situation and they decide to not let the field goal kicker kick all day?
Yeah, I mean, listen, I do think that they're going to make up for some of the maybe the inexperience at those two positions with a more aggressive attitude on offense.
Let's take a look at.
I would think that you're going to see him go for it on fourth down, just like he did last year's offensive coordinator.
What, because he thinks he can make it and he's not totally sold on the kicker?
Yeah, if it's a question of a 50-yard field goal or a 48-yard field goal, they're going for it if it's a reasonable distance.
Yeah, because if you don't make it, you're giving them better field position than you had. All right, let's take a look at some of the notable cuts. Braxton-Miller, was he the most notable? Britton-Colquitt, I think our fans felt that was the most pivotal one. Greg Joseph, the kicker. Seth DeValde, I was surprised about. Defensive tackle Trevon Coley. Braxton-Miller up on the right side, and there you see the rest of it. Giuseppe didn't make it. I think somebody will pick him up maybe for the practice squad.
Yeah, or maybe somebody who really has a need in the return game. But I was surprised a little bit at Braxton-Miller only because it looked in that game like they were trying to give him every opportunity to make the team.
And he had no drops.
Yeah, and they threw him some quick screens. He showed, some escapability on those. So I thought he might have a chance.
All right, let's take a look at some of the guys added at the last minute here. Here you see some wide receivers, guys probably most of you never heard of. Third NFL season for Seals Jones. And there you see it. 24 receptions, or 34 receptions, and 12 receptions with Arizona last year. So there you have it. And continuing on, what do we have? We have Tywan Taylor with the now in his third NFL season, 5'11", 203, 37 receptions, and that was with Tennessee, and then back with Tennessee in 16 receptions for 231 yards.
Yeah, so there's a guy with nearly 700 yards over 2 seasons. Clearly, he's been better than Braxton-Miller over the last 2 years.
Does it look to you that they're taking guys with experience, albeit limited, versus giving somebody with the big upside a chance?
Yeah, I think they're looking for certain things. Like that's why I thought Braxton-Miller had a chance too, because he's got speed. He's great in the open field. I think they're looking for specific things that guys can do at those positions that maybe they don't have elsewhere in there.
Week 1 starts Sunday for the Cleveland Browns. Let's take a look at the unofficial depth chart as they posted out there. Obviously, the starters going with Mayfield.
Mayfield won the job.
Yeah, I was surprised at that. Beckham Jr., then Landry, Njoku, as well as Harris. And you see the second team, Drew Stanton, has apparently won that job over Garrett Gilbert. And there's the rest. Rashad Higgins could be a favorite for Baker-Mayfield. So there you have it. Let's take a look at the unofficial depth chart. Offensively, number 1, and you go down to the third string, or first and second teamers. There you see it. Wyatt Teller just acquired. And I would guess he'll be starting by about week, 3, 4?
Yeah, I think. I know he says he has confidence in Cush, and again, what else is he going to say? But they gave up 2 draft picks to bring Teller in here. I'd be surprised if he isn't the starter at some point this year, and probably fairly early.
I like the looks of that defensive line, Garrett and Larry Ogunjobi and Richardson and Vernon. That looks like a pretty good defensive line as far as I'm concerned. Let's continue on, see what we have. Got Kirksey, Schobert, and Taylor. And the linebackers, Wilson, as well as Taki and Avery. You'll see Avery on the next page also. Third string made up. Well, the third string doesn't stand a chance, only one guy on it.
Yeah, exactly.
There you see the rest of it. And that's what it looks like.
Yeah, I thought at one point it looked like Greedy Williams could possibly become the starter by the opener, but again, Terrence Mitchell had a good camp, and I think Greedy Williams had a pretty good camp too. I don't think there was any big questions about him.
216-575-0403 is the number to call. Northeast Factory Direct has an extensive selection of high-quality semi-custom kitchen cabinets, and you can save 60 to 70% compared to the big box stores, and theirs is a better quality cabinet. 100% solid wood cabinets, no particle board, no MDF fiber board, no gimmicks, no deceiving blowout sales. 3 big, huge bare bones warehouses, east, west, and south. The newest one is south in Macedonia, as well as Euclid, the old B&B appliance store on West 130th, and that's in Cleveland at Northeast Factory Direct, where you're going to pay less than 50% of what you might think you'd be paying at any of those 3 great locations. Northfield Park, your home for live and simulcast racing, and they've got it Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and Saturday, post time 6 p.m. Free admission, free parking every day at Northfield Park. We'll come back in a moment with Bud Shaw. We'll also come back with Mike Masetta from Nature Stone, find out what Mike's thinking. More Sports and Les-Levine continues exclusively on cleveland.com.
No other company or product can match the features, benefits, and warranty of an authentic Nature Stone floor.
We had a horrible storm that flooded our basement.
We had to take out that nasty moldy carpet.
And we never want to have to go through that again. That's when we called Nature Stone.
And with Russell's Promise, our true unconditional warranty, you will never have to replace your basement flooring again. Get Nature Stone installed by the end of September and save up to half off. Schedule your free cost estimate easily online today at naturestone.com. It's not just a floor, wow, it's Nature Stone.
There are tastes we remember. Every smell brings the happiness of times gone by. Experience this every time you walk into Gallucci's Italian Foods. Whether you need lunch on the go, a catered party, or that perfect blend of wine, meats, and cheeses, Gallucci's has exactly what you're looking for. Straight from Mama's Kitchen for old world traditions or original experiences. From the tastes you remember to new flavors you'll never forget. Gallucci's is a tasty branch of your family tree.
When it comes to selling you a mattress, most retailers are handing you a long line of extra steps that drive up costs and create confusion. At the Original Mattress Factory, we simplify the mattress shopping experience by building mattresses and box springs in our own local factories and selling them direct to you. It's short, sweet, and simply makes sense. So experience more than just the mattress store. Experience an original, the Original Mattress Factory.
Birthdays for today. Eddie Stanky, former spark plug and Major League manager. Dick Mata. And Pop Fly, my favorite, 1947. Ernest Givens, as well as Luis Gonzalez and Sean White, seen on the left, all celebrating birthdays on the 3rd of September. 216-575-0403. Time for a How Come Quickie. Bud, maybe you can answer this for me. How come 75 miles per hour is the fastest you can go on almost all U.S. highways, but car speedometers go up to 140? You want to explain that? Can't.
I never really thought of that, Les. I really have not. I guess if you were, you needed to speed up to save yourself from some catastrophe.
From 75 to 140?
You'd be able to do so.
I got to call in Mike Masetta. He knows stuff. He can answer that question. Mike, are you there?
I'm here, Les. How you doing?
I'm well. I've got Bud Shaw, who cannot answer sufficiently the question about how come you can only go 70 or 75 miles legally, but speedometers go up to 140.
Well, first, I'm shocked that Bud cannot answer that question because he usually knows everything.
Yeah.
So, as far as I'm concerned, I'm with Bud. I can't answer that. I know that.
I was wondering where you were going with that.
Well, I never thought that you knew everything. I thought Bud knew everything.
Yeah, right. Yeah, it was not me, but good question.
All right, very, very good. And it was quick, Bud.
It was quick. It's the essence of the How Come
All right,
Quickie.
so listen, Mike, you know my brothers, and I think I've told you this, that once the Duke football came out on Wilmington Road in South Euclid, that meant baseball season was over, time to start throwing the old football around. So is it time to start throwing the old football around?
Oh gosh, not yet, Les. I don't. They're not out of it yet. I think they got a lot of life left in them, and these next couple of weeks with these what's coming up in terms of their schedule is obviously going to make or break them. But yeah, I'm just not ready to start with the football yet. There's too much going on with the Indians. And they're too close to getting into the playoffs that I want to see how it plays out first.
Well, first of all, you look at the schedule and you think Boston should give Minnesota a little tumble here, and then the Indians play them over the weekend. So mathematically, or at least the way, if I'm Minnesota, I'm just saying win one game from Cleveland. That'll shut them up. And Boston's pretty much out of it. So, but somehow you'd think they've got enough pride to get it together here for a 3-game
series. I mean, that lineup in Boston is really good. It's amazing that they're not having a better season. I think to Mike's point, I think these next 3 nights are pretty important because if you go into the Minnesota series and you're 6.5 or maybe worse out. That's going to be a really tough thing. You're not going to catch them at that point.
Will you be comfortable if they're 4 out?
Yeah. I'm not comfortable, but I think
doable.
Now you're okay. If you win 2 of 3 this time and 2 of 3 next time or 3 of 3 next time when you have them at home, who knows?
All right, Mike, I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to put the Duke football in my trunk, and next time I'm at your place, we'll just go in the alley and start throwing that apple around a little bit.
That sounds good to me, Les. I'll pick you up on that.
Mike, I said this to somebody at Channel 3 last week. I grew up in Philadelphia, and I've never been able to write off a team ever again because of that, because I had written in the Phillies in '64 thinking They had a 6.5 game lead with 12 to play. How do you lose that, right?
And two great pitchers.
Here's the thing, though, with baseball, too, is that a lot of times the champion comes out of the wild card.
Yeah,
and
that's
so,
possible.
Now it does,
we're sitting here, we want to catch Minnesota. Obviously, you get the bye and all that good stuff more. But at the end of the day, you're still sitting in the second wild card seat. You're only half a game behind Tampa Bay for the first wild card seat, which would be the home game. I'm not as worried about Minnesota as I am about just maintaining where I'm at in the standings, because if we maintain where we're at, we're going to make the playoffs. And then from there, anything can happen.
Yeah,
and I'll tell you, with the pitching staffs and the way that things set up, and the way if our bullpen pitches the way that it has been for the majority of the year, I would not want to face us in a playoff series.
Well, I'll tell you what.
I know that much.
When the Indians got swept by Tampa Bay, I said, okay, that's it, it's over. Went to bed, got up, and said, wait a minute, they're still alive in this thing. They still have a half-game lead on the wild card. Now, I think everything's going against them, but I don't want to write off Terry Francona managed team.
Yeah, I mean, the one-game wild card is just such a tightrope for both teams. I guess I'd feel better about it if it were a 3-game series.
Sure.
Just because it feels to me that if you go, like the Indians are what, 80 and 58 right now? The two teams that get in there are going to probably be somewhere between 20 and 25 games over 500. And their season's going to come down to one game. Yeah. And it doesn't seem quite right.
And
but
by the way,
I understand it.
I didn't think I'd say this. If given my choice, I'd rather play the Yankees than Houston.
Well, I think because of the starting pitching, you almost
got the three best pitchers in the league.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, but their fourth one isn't that great.
Their fourth one's that cranky.
But right now, you don't know if winning the wild card is going to get you Houston or
right now,
both of those teams are a half a game apart now.
Yeah.
So you just don't know. You just got to keep playing to the end, and hopefully, they get into the postseason. I don't like their chances of winning it, Mike. If they, just because of the injuries they've suffered, if they don't get Kluber back, if Ramirez doesn't come back, that's a hard pick to say they're going to go in and beat the Astros or the Yankees. But at least you have that opportunity.
How did you guys feel when you saw Carrasco go to the mound and stay and be on the mound for an inning? Mike, what were you thinking?
Well, for me, I got chills. I mean, I had a bout with cancer many years ago when I was younger, so for me it hit home a little bit more than maybe with others. Although everybody's got a story, with something like that. So I was just really taken back by it. I could not believe that, knowing what he went through to get back. I could not believe that he came back as quickly as he did, and I was just so just felt really good for him, and also for the family that he's out there doing his thing.
Yeah, the thing that surprised me is that I kept thinking leading up to it that they're saying it's okay, Cookie, don't worry about it, everything will be fine. It's sort of giving lip service, and then they say, wait a minute, he's actually going to do it. Who expected that?
Yeah, and just, once you get past the personal part of it, which I think that was all anyone cared about, seeing him on the mound, now that he's back, you start to think, well, he could really figure into the back end of this bullpen if they can get into the postseason. I mean, they have an effective bullpen, but they don't have a lot of guys that make you swing and miss in that bullpen.
Right.
And he's certainly a guy who could, So if you have him in the 8th and sometimes the 9th inning against certain right-handers, and Brad Hand's starting to leak oil a little bit, it can only help having him back.
All right, Mike, I haven't taken the football out yet, but it's sort of on the edge of the closet right now. So what are you thinking now? The cuts are made. You know who the team is, although it may be different. A couple guys may be different in a couple of weeks. Any surprises to you other than the kicking situation, punting and place kicking?
Well, I'll tell you what. Seibert had a really nice preseason, and you could have gone with either or there. I love Gillan, that the Scottish Hammer. I mean, that guy, he had more special teams tackles than the special teams guys had.
That
I mean,
worries me about the special teams, actually.
He's not waiting for you to run out of bounds to just push you. I mean, he's putting his shoulder in there. So, it was interesting to see that. But in terms of any surprises, I was a little bit surprised that they did not retain Braxton-Miller. That was the one guy that I didn't understand. The 10-day contract. He came in for 10 days. He did really well in those 10 days. He's another quarterback that they could have gone to. Should there have been injuries and so forth. I was a little surprised at that. But that was about the only thing.
Would you have felt that way if he wasn't an Ohio State guy?
It's a good question. Yeah. No, I think that I thought that he played well enough, forgetting the fact that he was from Ohio State. I thought that he played well enough for what they were looking for him to do, which was some special teams and some a little bit of that slot receiver, kind of the screen pass sort of guy.
The quick screen.
I just thought, and then on top of that, he allows you to keep an extra quarterback on the roster without having to roster an extra quarterback.
Right.
All
right. Wait a minute. Wow, it's Nature Stone.
Wow, it's Nature Stone.
I almost forgot. Hey, Mike, thanks as always for joining us. Big week here. The Browns start up. The Indians are going to know in another week and a half or so where they stand, and should be a nice week here in Cleveland. Thanks, Mike.
My pleasure, guys. Thanks for the time.
Take care, Mike.
Mike Maceda from great company. That is Nature Stone. The Greater Cleveland Sports Hall of Fame will open up its doors to 6 more people coming up 2 weeks from tomorrow. That's the 18th of September. The public invited at Lander Havens, 7 o'clock with the dinner. The program begins shortly after 7:30. There you see the great names, including Urban Meyer, who did you get to see him at all on the pregame show today?
I did not. I
wonder what emotions were going through him as they're watching Ryan Day make the transition. Anyway, tickets available 216-241-1919 or go to admin at cleveland-sports-hall.com. 216-575-0403 is our number. Can the Indians make the playoffs? Bud and I and you will talk about it when we get back. More Sports and Les-Levine exclusively on cleveland.com.
As a kid growing up, my dream was to go to college, play baseball, and get a degree. Coming out of high school, I had 2 choices. I was accepted into a 4-year university, but I decided to come to Tri-C after receiving a scholarship. I got my associate's degree at Tri-C. They transferred all my credits straight into Baldwin-Wallace, so I started at Baldwin-Wallace University as a junior. My name is Tyler Leonard, and I earned my first degree at Tri-C.
The Ohio Lottery Partners in Education program has been recognizing role model students and teachers since 2007. To nominate a deserving teacher or student, go to OhioLottery.com. In the About section, find Supporting Education. There, you can nominate students in kindergarten through 12th grade as academic all-stars. Teachers can be honored as the Teacher of the Month. Every school that participates is eligible for the School of the Year. The Ohio Lottery Partners in Education, where stars shine.
It takes attention to detail. With your local Bryant dealer, you're getting more than just a technician. You're getting someone who pays attention to your needs and the little things that make a big difference. It takes a dealer you can rely on. And to keep your family cool this summer,
let me show you how this works.
It takes Bryant.
Bryant. Whatever it takes.
And to keep your family comfortable, it takes Smiley One Heating and Cooling. Find them at 440-449-HEAT.
Let's take a look at this date in sports history, September 3rd, 1928. Bud, you remember this. Ty Cobb records his 4,191st and final hit of his career. He did play 8 more games, but he went hitless. Probably knew it was time to hang him up.
Couldn't happen to a nicer guy going hitless for 8 games. Couldn't happen to a nicer guy who allegedly murdered someone. Allegedly.
But I don't know anything about it. 216-575-0403. And this segment of More Sports and Les-Levine brought to you by our friends at Northeast Factory Direct. And hot tubs, they've got them. You can settle back in one of your own 6-person hot tub. And it comes fully loaded with stainless steel jets, LED lighting, and a waterfall for just $3,800. Same hot tub all over the country sells at about $7,000, but not at Northeast Factory Direct. 216-575-0403. The Indians 5.5 games behind Minnesota, looking for the Central Division Championship. Let's take a look at it. Oakland is 1 game back and back of the Indians, and the Indians a half game behind the Tampa Bay Rays. It hurt. Not a very effective lineup for Tampa Bay, but good enough to sweep the Indians in 3 over the weekend.
That guy's a good manager.
And he's got a good manager
Kevin
also.
Cash.
So there you have it. Mike-Clevinger wins the AL Pitcher of the Month. Congratulations to him. He'll try to become the pitcher of the month of September starting tonight. Let's go to the phones. We'll go to Newton Falls. Lee is. Let's take a look at these before we go to Lee. AL Pitcher of the Month, 26 2/3 innings and 6 starts. A 5-0 record during the month and 1.96 ERA, 51 strikeout. How about that? 51 and 11. Opposing batting average is .205. What an addition he has been. Let's go to the phones. We'll go to Lee, who's standing by or sitting by in Newton Falls, Ohio. Lee, how are you?
Good evening, gentlemen. Yes, I'm doing quite well.
Long time no talk.
On my bench, ready to go. Unfortunately for our Indians, it could be a rough month.
Yeah.
Well, they can still lead by a half game for the second wild card.
Yes. I have a question about the Indians. We have a hitting coach to teach hitting.
Yep.
We have a pitching coach to teach pitching.
Yep.
Do we have a how to play the game coach?
Yeah, Mills and Sarbaugh. Why? What don't you like about what they're doing besides throwing to the wrong base all the time?
Well, that was one of the things I was going to say. How many times have our outfielders ever hit a cut-up man, or have they threw the ball to their correct base? They're base running.
Well, if you throw the ball right to the base, all you're going to do is hit an umpire who's standing in the wrong place.
It's just amazing to me. Watching that game last night when Bowers threw that ball 40 feet up the screen, and then he stands up there and laughs about it.
Yeah.
But what else are you going to do?
Well, he could bury his head in the sand. Get him out of there.
I am astounded. Although if you talk to anybody who follows any team, they're going to tell you the same thing, right? Their guys don't know how to run the bases. They don't know where to throw the ball. They don't know. They get caught off base. All kinds of stuff. They let the last out of the inning be at third base. That should never happen. Lindor almost did cost him a game a week or so ago by doing that. And I hate to rag on Lindor because he's phenomenal.
I go to spring training, or I used to go to spring training, and they, believe it or not, Lee, they do work on that stuff.
Yeah, do they do it in May, June, or July?
Probably not. Yeah.
Well, they must have short memories then.
Well, you know what? The three of us, we should have a sort of like a spring training on watching games. Don't expect anything. Don't expect them to throw to the right bases in April. And if it doesn't bother you, then you move on to the next month.
That's a good point.
Not really.
Looking at our lineup, though, isn't our lineup starting to look a lot like the lineup we had in April?
Yeah, but what are you going to do? April, at least you didn't have to go into the season like that. You have no choice now.
Well, I know we get the injuries and stuff, but it just looks the same. We had trouble scoring runs then.
When you take Jose Ramirez out of it, I think that's the big thing. You know,
take Ramirez out.
When you take Ramirez out of it, when Ramirez is Ramirez, that's a big hole. And I just read less a stat off air that Puig over the last 2 weeks is hitting like 132 with 190 slugging and has 14 strikeouts and no homers. So
doesn't it seem strange that these guys switch? Like he stops hitting and all of a sudden Reyes starts.
Yeah, but they can't. You're right. I mean, without Ramirez in there, every time another guy goes in a slump, it's going to really be tough. A tough.
And when Ramirez isn't there, they just pitch around the rest of that lineup anyway.
Yeah.
I think it's sort of remarkable that they are where they are.
Yeah, yeah. You know, I look down the list of their guys that have been on the injured list this year, and then I look at the record, and it's pretty impressive that they can be 80 and 58 given what they've dealt with this season. And that's not to absolve all the fundamental mistakes. I don't mean it that way.
No, the problem is you can't afford fundamental mistakes.
Absolutely.
You score more runs or you give up less runs, you can afford to give up a run here or there. But
yeah, and now I think Plesac and Plutko are starting to show the inconsistencies that rookie pitchers have.
And the thing about Puig, about a month ago, everybody was crying for them to try to sign him long term. Maybe not now.
Yeah, I don't
Anything
think
else,
that's going
Lee?
to happen.
No, that's it. I'm going to sit back and enjoy the game tonight. I've tried to.
Do me a favor. Don't wait so long to call us again. I think we haven't heard from you in a long time.
Well, I work a lot of afternoons, and I can't find you all the time on this.
Let's get your let's get your priorities straight. Don't tell me about working.
Lee, calling here or working?
I'm working here too, but if you don't call me, I have nowhere to go.
You have a good night, gentlemen.
You too. Good to talk to you, Lee. 216-575-0403 is the number to call.
I know you appreciate me for giving you meaningless information at times. Did you know?
You never know, because eventually there might be a meaningful one.
Do you know today is the first day since April 9th or 10th that the sun will set before 8 o'clock? Do you know that? Just, hey, you're welcome.
And what are we supposed to do with this information? Get leader tea times?
Summer's leaving us quickly.
Why does that happen? I know there should be 4 equal parts to the year.
It doesn't feel like it.
Doesn't feel like it.
No. But it's also a sign, Les, that the most anticipated Brown season since when is about to start?
I'd say 1989.
Really? Like, how about in 2008? Do you remember there being a buzz because they had gone 10-6 the year before?
Not a real buzz. Not a buzz like this.
We still have
not
Derek
a buzz
Anderson
like the
at
Bernie
quarterback.
years. Not a buzz like this year.
Well, when I moved here in '91, Tony Grossi told me that this would be an unbelievable city when the Browns were good, and I thought, oh,
you still don't know the answer.
That's 28 years later, and I still am not sure about it, but I think I get what he's talking about.
And then you have to wait another 28 years.
Hopefully that's not going to be. I really believe we're going to look at another 5-6 year run of a team getting to the playoffs and making something happen in the playoffs. I really believe that.
Hope so. By the way, with what's going on with the hurricane and all, I don't mean to make light about the summer and the quality and all. We wish everybody well down there and in the Bahamas, that's for sure.
Small issues here.
Sokolowski's University Inn. No place better than that. They are the winner of the James Beard Foundation Award. I can keep saying that. They're exclusively Cleveland's only restaurant to ever win it. And then until some other restaurant gets named to that award, we'll continue to say it's the only one in Cleveland. Cleveland's oldest family-owned and operated business, Mike and Bernie Sokolowski's University Inn, located in Fremont. Take the Abbey Avenue exit and right under the bridge. That's where you find it. Established back in 1923. It's Cleveland's oldest family-owned and operated restaurant, 5 minutes out of downtown with plenty of free parking. When Northeast Factory Direct, they are the place to go to save 40, 50, 60, sometimes 70%. Nobody's going to touch their everyday savings or quality. If you want nice big-ticket items to improve your home and you want to pay half price of what most people pay, you've got to go to Northeast Factory Direct. West 140th Street in Cleveland, the old B&B appliance store on Lakeland Boulevard in Euclid, or Freeway Drive, the new one in Macedonia, or check them out before you go anywhere, northeastfactorydirect.com. 50 sofas at around $3.99 and solid wood bunk beds, bunk sets, just $2.99 from Northeast Factory Direct. Back in a moment with Bud Shaw. Tomorrow night, the D-Man, Dennis Maniloff, and we'll continue on throughout the rest of the week as we get up to football. Opening day, Dan Lobby will be with us on Thursday. More Sports and Les-Levine continues exclusively on cleveland.com.
No other company or product can match the features, benefits, and warranty of an authentic Nature Stone floor.
I had an epoxy-based sand paint on my floor that deteriorated, and that's why I called Nature Stone.
Why paint? It's expensive, it's ugly, and it doesn't last. Nature Stone is always affordable. It's beautiful, and with Russell's Promise, our true unconditional warranty, you will never have to replace your garage floor again. Get Nature Stone installed by the end of September and save up to half off. It's not just a floor. Wow, it's Nature Stone.
When it comes to selling you a mattress, most retailers are handing you a long line of extra steps that drive up costs and create confusion. At the Original Mattress Factory, we simplify the mattress shopping experience by building mattresses and box springs in our own local factories and selling them direct to you. It's short, sweet, and simply makes sense. So experience more than just the mattress store. Experience an original, the Original Mattress Factory.
Downs and Casino now has sports betting. Use one of the 50 state-of-the-art Bet America kiosks to place your bet. Then watch your favorite games on our new HD televisions or visit our new sportsbook area. Only at Presque Isle Downs and Casino.
Let's check out this date in Les-Levine history, September 3rd, 1965, but after Les tried unsuccessfully to walk on Ohio State's baseball team, he gets turned down for a second chance. He then claims the coach was a bad judge of talent. The Buckeyes won the 1966 NCAA baseball championship for the first time and only time in their history.
Well, just think of what they had to overcome.
If they kept me as a walk-on and I played, that historical note would have never happened. I'd have showed them.
You could have sabotaged that.
I could have.
that championship year.
Let's check out our Facebook question of the day, and that question is, who are you most surprised by to see cut by the Cleveland Browns? It's almost unanimous. Andy Mee says Britton-Colquitt was a shock considering he punted at a Pro Bowl level during his time with the Browns. I trust in Big John, but surprised to see him fix what's not broken.
Good point.
Dennis Davis says Colquitt, I thought his holding for field goals ensured him a spot. Rick May, definitely Colquitt. I thought they had the Scottish Hammer out there in games 3 and 4 to audition him for a possible trade. Len Gold says, I agree, Colquitt is proven and the First Energy Field is tough enough to kick in November and December. Dave Shoup, yep, Colquitt. Punting ability aside, I didn't think he would go into the season with such an inexperienced holder when field goal concern was so high. Larry Pantages says, IDIT, in Dorsey I trust. Of course, that's the same franchise that once cut Len Dawson. Now, listen, for years, people used to hate Art Modell because he fired Paul Brown 100 years ago. Now, this is the first Len Dawson complaint I've had. Let's go to the phones. We'll go to BP, who's in Pepper Pike. Hello, BP.
Hey, Les and Bud, how you guys doing tonight?
What's up, doing well. How are you?
Doing great. Getting ready for some NFL. Obviously Thursday night, the season opens with the Bears and the Packers and obviously the Browns on Sunday.
Yep.
I'll be going down to the Browns game, so I'm super excited. I'm going to get down there like at 10 a.m. Like really want to get there early, and I think it's just going to be off the hook with the anticipation and obviously all the hype. I'm sure there's a lot of stuff planned down, obviously before the game.
And some unplanned. Hey, how far back do you go as a Browns fan?
I mean, literally, I go back to like the early 70s as a kid. I remember the Browns were really kind of bad then, with Leroy Kelly, and they didn't have that much talent. So to me, this is the most anticipated Brown season in my lifetime, because even when we had Bernie Kosar, those teams were good, but they weren't chock full of all-stars as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, I think that's a great
really
point. This is by far the most talented team.
Think about the wide receivers on that team: Brian Brenner and Webster Slaughter and Reggie Langhorne. All good, solid players, but really extra guys, right? I mean, not
when
go-to
I first came
guys.
to Cleveland, I actually ran into Brian Brennan down on West 6th Street. I didn't even know who the guy was.
Yeah.
Because I just moved here from Miami, and I just never heard of him. And like
well,
people
not
were
only
saying,
that,
you know who that is? I said, no, I don't.
Well, even if you did, you're surprised by his size.
Right.
I was.
Yeah, I never heard of the guy. Now, if I lived here for a couple of years leading up to it, I would have known him, but I never heard of Brian Brennan. So you're right. Those Browns teams, they were, to me, almost overachievers.
All right, so 1980, you had Brian Sipe, you had Red Right 88, so that was pretty exciting. But then the next couple of years, the whole decade wasn't very good after that.
No, I did want to mention I spent a good part of this morning watching. I got the app to watch the FIBA basketball, and I really was shocked how it was really entertaining. USA against Turkey in basketball. Did you guys hear anything about this game?
Was that the one-point game?
I know how it ended, and I know a couple of the details, but I didn't see any of it.
It was really a good game. I mean, that game went to overtime. USA should have lost a couple of times. Jetty Osman missed a couple of free throws that would have probably sealed the deal for Turkey.
All right, I have an idea for something fun to watch. Why don't we get the guys from the 1972 championship game, the USA against the Russia, and how old would they be now, like an average player?
Well, you're talking almost 50 years.
Well, you're talking Doug Collins was the star of that team. So
late 60s, early 70s.
Well, get them out there and let them play. Let's win that medal back.
Play the Russians again?
Yes.
Oh, that would be fun to watch. Hey, and that another
I kind of
Brazil.
felt like there were some questionable calls. So I kind of felt like Turkey was getting the referees were very questionable. Put it that way.
None more questionable in history than the ones in the USA-Russia game of '72.
And I saw where Brazil beat Greece and Verjao hit the game-winning shot.
Really?
Yeah, I didn't even think he was playing anymore.
I know. I saw that Brazil beat Greece by 1 point, and Verjao had 22 points. He had more points than the Greek freak.
Where did that come from? Why didn't we see that?
You weren't listening. Bud just said that.
No, he did. I didn't know he had 22 points. I thought he just tipped one in at the buzzer.
Did he count the layup line?
No, I thought Verjao was retired from basketball.
Me too.
Here he is, scoring more than the MVP of the NBA.
Yeah,
I think somebody told me he's living here in the area.
Is he? That doesn't surprise me.
Hey, BP, we got to go. Thanks as always for joining us. Enjoy the game tonight. Enjoy and explore your interest and find a program at Tri-C that puts you on a path to a bright future. Tri-C offers more than 1,000 courses in over 140 career and technical programs. Go to tri-c.edu for more information. Northfield Park, your home for live and simulcast racing. We got live racing starting at 6 p.m. with the post time Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and Saturday. It's free parking, free admission every day at Northfield Park. Bud and I return one more time exclusively on cleveland.com.
No other company or product can match the features, benefits, and warranty of an authentic Nature Stone floor.
We had a horrible storm that flooded our basement.
We had to take out that nasty moldy carpet.
And we never want to have to go through that again. That's when we called Nature Stone.
And with Russell's Promise, our true unconditional warranty, you will never have to replace your basement flooring again. Get Nature Stone installed by the end of September and save up to half off. Schedule your free cost estimate easily online today at naturestone.com. It's not just a floor, wow, it's Nature Stone.
There are tastes we remember. Every smell brings the happiness of times gone by. Experience this every time you walk into Gallucci's Italian Foods. Whether you need lunch on the go, a catered party, or that perfect blend of wine, meats, and cheeses, Gallucci's has exactly what you're looking for. Straight from Mama's Kitchen for old world traditions or original experiences. From the tastes you remember to new flavors you'll never forget, Gallucci's is a tasty branch of your family tree.
The Ohio Lottery Partners in Education program has been recognizing role model students and teachers since 2007. To nominate a deserving teacher or student, go to OhioLottery.com. In the About section, find Supporting Education. There, you can nominate students in kindergarten through 12th grade as academic all-stars. Teachers can be honored as the Teacher of the Month. Every school that participates is eligible for the School of the Year. The Ohio Lottery Partners in Education, where stars shine.
Tomorrow night, the D-Man, Dennis Maniloff, getting a lot more airtime now at WTAM 1100. And then Dan Lobby joins us from cleveland.com. That'll be on Thursday. 216-575-0403 is the number to call. You can also follow us on Facebook, facebook.com/more-sports-and-les-levine with new content posted each and every day. You can also get us on the voicemail of Truth and Reason. If you can't call us during the show, which is done live from 6 until 7 p.m. Eastern Time, call us and leave a message at 216-200-6650. Leave a message and we'll get to it at the next opportunity. 216-200-6650. You already, what are you giving the 5.0? What is that for?
Are you going to read a How Come Quickie?
Yeah, you're going to start at 5.0 and move
well,
on?
I'm thinking
that's like an extra innings. Just put a guy in second base.
If you waited this long into the show, they must not be any good. So that's why I'm doing this.
Mr. Gullible, they're called quickies, sir. How come in the email to season ticket holders, the Indians say postseason tickets are not to be resold, but then 2 paragraphs later they say you must use StubHub to resell postseason tickets?
That was neither a quickie
or funny.
So,
but true.
But it is
5.
true.
5.0.
It is true.
That. John Patrick, ready for this?
Yeah.
How come it's bad luck to be superstitious? It's quick.
It is quick.
Sort of funny, and worth an 8.0.
Yeah, I turned a 5 into an 8.
It looks like you changed Woody to Bo. Let's see the word Bo.
It does look like Bo.
Looks
now.
like Bo a little bit. All right, do you have? I know you had opening comments. Do you have closing comments?
No, I really have higher hopes for How Come Quickies next week. But
or you're going to go on strike and not be here.
Hey, I think this is going to be a really fun season for once, and I just, for the sake of the people in this city who've been waiting this long, I hope they get off to a good start.
Oh.
Only because so much angst will set in if
2
they
and
go out
4
there,
or 3 and 3.
even if they lose that first game, and I don't think they will. But if they do, you're going to start questioning already. Like, well, shouldn't they have played together more in game situations?
If Freddie-Kitchens wasn't with Les's wife on the east side,
yes,
he should have been
what
there
does
for
he
game 4.
Being outside a nail salon.
Now hold on a second. For people who just joined us,
Freddie was not with Les's wife.
Well, he was. Well, I have a picture to prove it.
Yeah, but it was an accidental meeting.
There you go. Thanks to Bud Shaw. Terrific as always. Dennis Maniloff tomorrow and Dan Labbe on Thursday. Of all the shows I've ever done, this was the most recent.